Question number 42. Let S be a non-empty set such that the total number of subsets of S containing at most 2 elements is equal to 16. Then the number of elements in set equals 5, 6, 16 and 7. Now this is a very simple MCQ. We will start by assuming that S has n elements. Okay. Now we already know that if S has n elements, then the total number of subsets of S will be 2 raised to n. Okay. And if you know the distribution of the subsets of S as far as the number of elements is concerned, if we want the number of subsets which have m elements, then that is actually NCM. This is a well-known result in set theory. You can prove it by mathematical induction, correct? But here the problem has given us the total number of subsets of S containing at most 2. Okay, at most 2 elements. Now the word at most or the phrase at most also appears in binomial distribution, isn't it? At most means 2 or less than 2. Okay, so we would now like to find n such that NC0, which is the number of subsets of S having 0 elements, so that is going to be 1, plus NC1, so this will be the total number of subsets of S having 1 element each, plus NC2, which will be the total number of subsets of S having 2 elements each. Okay, so NC0 plus NC1 plus NC2 is equal to 16, that is given in the problem, isn't it? Now look at the options. Clearly C is not right because 16C1 itself will be 16. Okay, so we'll start with 5. 5C0 is 1 because NC0 is 1 always. NC1, so 5. So this is now 5 plus 1, 6. So there is some hope. Okay, and if you calculate 5C2, 5 factorial upon 3 factorial into 2 factorial, that will be 20 upon 2 or 10. Okay, and indeed we are now getting 1 plus 5 plus 10 equal to 6 plus 10 equal to 16. Correct? So how many elements are there in set S? 5. Correct? Yes. Now you can actually go ahead and say that okay, this distribution is actually symmetric, as you might be knowing. There is only one set with no elements and one set with 5 elements. Then 5C1 is equal to 5C4. So 5, 5. Okay, and this will now be 10, 10. Correct? So you can see the symmetric distribution. So if you have that idea, then you can actually guess that 2 raised to 5 is 32 and at most 2 means 2 or less than 2. Okay, so that must be half of 32, so 60. But that requires you to have good understanding of the set theory and the binomial coefficients. Okay, but nonetheless, even if you solve the problem by this method, it is not going to take too much time. So that is question 42. Question number 43. Consider the parallelogram ABCD as shown in the figure, where AE upon AB equals CF upon CD equals 1 upon n for some positive integer n. Okay, now let's locate points E and F. E is on AB and F is on CD. Okay, and CF upon CD, that means this upon the entire side of the parallelogram, that ratio is equal to AE upon AB, the whole side of the parallelogram, and that ratio is 1 upon n for some positive integer n. Okay, suppose the length of AC is A, so the length of the larger diagonal of this particular parallelogram is A, then the length of XY is A upon n, n into A upon n plus 1, n minus 1 into A upon n plus 1, and n minus 1 into A upon n. These are the 4 options. So first let us locate X and Y. X is here on the diagonal AC, so is y. Okay, now x and y are at the intersection of the diagonal AC with DE and FB, and the locations of E and F have already been told to us in the problem. Okay, now what I have done is I have introduced two simplifications, okay, which will lead us to the correct answer. Simplification 1 is that I have taken a particular value of n so that the calculations become simpler. Okay, so that n is 3, and see, now to pick this value, what you should do is you should pick n equal to 3 in all 4 options and see whether there are options which give you the identical answer. There might be some of them. For example, if you try n equal to 2, then you will get 2 options identical. So for n equal to 3, option A is a by 3, option B is 3a by 4, option C is 3 minus 1 2a upon 3 plus 1 4, so 2a by 4, and option D is 2a by 3. So all of them are distinct, so n equal to 3 will work. Okay, the other simplification is I have transformed this parallelogram into a square. Now you may ask, will it be a valid simplification? It should be, okay, because in the question they are just talking about parallelogram. Okay, have they said anything in particular regarding the sides and the angles of the parallelogram? No. Okay, so we can consider any parallelogram as per our convenience. Okay, so let's take square. Well, I have not even taken rectangle or rhombus, I have directly gone for square, and eventually I'll realize that taking a square actually helps in simplifying the, well, I would say it helps you in solving the sum. We'll see how. Okay, so transforming this parallelogram into a square now allows us to bring in coordinate geometry, equations and coordinates. Okay, so I have considered point A to be the origin of our coordinate system. AB is the x-axis, positive x-axis, and AD is the positive y-axis. Okay, and of course DAB is the right angle. Now AC will be the hypotenuse of the, well, not hypotenuse of the right angle triangle ABC, but it is diagonal of the square ABCD. Okay, and so the coordinates of C will be a comma I, because, oh sorry, not a comma I, what will they be? Yes, they will be a by root 2 comma a by root 2, because length of AC is a. Okay, so I shouldn't say C a comma I, it is C a by root 2 a by root 2. But anyways, now although the problem contains the length of AB as, or it mentions the length of diagonal as a, I'm introducing a new thing here and I'm calling it alpha. Okay, so this particular length AE, which this is the length which I am calling alpha. Okay, of course you can relate alpha and A later on, but as of now let's proceed with alpha. Now if AE is alpha, what is AB going to be? AB is going to be 3 alpha, because of the condition given in the problem that AE upon AB is 1 upon n, and we have chosen the value of n as 3. Okay, it's here in the problem. AE is to AB is 1 upon n. Okay, yes. Now this allows us to bring in coordinates of points E and D. Okay, so the coordinates of E will now be alpha comma 0, and what will coordinates of D be? Okay, see, now we are not interested in A as of now, because that will bring in irrational numbers and we don't want that to happen, at least at this stage. Okay, so have we determined the length of AB? It is 3 alpha, and because we have a square, not rectangle, AD's length will also be 3 alpha. So coordinates of D without any hesitation can be now considered as 0 comma 3 alpha. Okay, now once you get this, then your job is simple. This now is a school geometry problem. Okay, we will change the coordinates of C now from a by root 2 to 3 alpha comma 3 alpha. Okay, because the y coordinate of D is the same as that of C. The x coordinate of C is same as that of the point P. Okay, so 3 alpha comma 3 alpha. Now let's go to point X and then we'll go to Y. So these points, as I pointed out, lie on the diagonal of square ABCD now, but bringing in coordinate geometry and considering this to be a square now allows us to find the equations of DE and AC. Equation of AC is already known to us, y equal to x. Okay, so what is the equation of DE? Can we find it? Yes, we know 2 points on that line, D and D, so we can find the equation of DE. What will it be? Y minus y1 equal to m into x minus x1. Now to find the slope, use y2 minus y1. So 3 alpha minus 0 upon 0 minus alpha will be the slope of DE. So that will be 3 alpha upon minus alpha or minus 3. Okay, so that's it here. Yes, simplified, you'll get the equation of DE as y equal to minus 3x plus 3 alpha. Okay, now where do lines AC and DE intersect? They intersect at x, and that is now our primary focus. Once we get the coordinates of x, our job will be almost done. Okay, yes, so the intersection of AC and DE can be obtained or can be found out by solving these two equations simultaneously, that of AC and that of AE. So just put y as x here, okay, in the equation of DE from equation of AC. So x will be minus 3x plus 3 alpha, or 4x will be 3 alpha. Yes, so that gives us x as 3 alpha upon 4. And because our point X lies on y equal to x, its x coordinate will be 3 alpha by 4, and so will be its y coordinate. Okay, yeah, this shouldn't be E, this should be x. By mistake I took it as E, should be x. Okay, see now what this has given us is, this has given us the coordinates of x. Okay, now from coordinates of x, can we find the distance AX? Yes, we can, and we know that distance AX is same as distance CY. So once we find these distances, we can subtract their sum from the length of AC, so that we will get the length of XY. That's what we are looking for. Okay, we are looking for this length, isn't it? So let's do that now. Yeah, this should be x. Yes. Now, how can we find the distance AX? It's very simple. Distance AX by the distance formula will be root of x2 minus x1 the whole squared. Now A is the origin, okay. y2 minus y1 the whole squared. Okay, so that will be 3 alpha by 4 as it is into root 2. Yes. Now once we get AX, we can easily get CY by similar arguments. In fact, you can prove that AX and CY are congruent. So once we get the lengths of AX and YC, which are 3 alpha root 2 upon 4 each, then can we determine the length of XY? Yes. See, if this is the diagonal of the parallelogram, in our case square, this is AX and this is CY. So to get the length XY, we should subtract the lengths of CY and AX, or 2 times AX from AC, and that's what I have done here. XY is AC minus 2AX. Okay, see now to find AC, I have not used A. Well, AC is actually equal to A, but as of now, let's keep it in terms of alpha. So if the coordinates of C are 3 alpha comma 3 alpha, its distance from point A or the origin is going to be 3 root 2 alpha The other way to arrive at that result is, if the square of the side is 3 alpha, its diagonal is going to be 3 alpha into root 2. That's what I have done here. 3 alpha into root 2 minus 2 times ax, 3 alpha root 2 upon 4. Okay, take 3 alpha root 2 common, and then it will be 1 by 2 in the second term, so 1 minus 1 upon 2. So xy in terms of alpha is now 3 root 2 alpha into 1 minus 1 upon 2, or 3 root 2 alpha upon 2 units. Okay, see, now we are almost there. All we now need to do is we need to replace alpha by a. Okay, so let's go back to our figure. 3 alpha is actually a by root 2. Okay, so from that we can easily get alpha. Okay, in terms of a will be 3 root 2 alpha, so there we got a by root 2 as 3 alpha, a by root 2 as 3 alpha, or a equal to 3 root 2 alpha. Yes, so put this put this alpha as a upon 3 root 2 here. So what will xy be? 3 root 2 upon 2 will be there as it is. Okay, but this time for alpha we will write a upon 3 root 2. 3 root 2 gets cancelled, and we are left with a by 2. Okay, so after transforming it to square and taking n as 3, we got xy as a by 2. But all our arguments will be true, and hence which one of these is giving us a by 2? It is option C, 2a by 4. Correct? So it's not a by 3, not 3a by 4, not 2a by 3, but it is 2a by 4. Or in general it will be n minus 1 into a upon n plus 1. Okay, now if you know these things, or if you know how to solve a multiple choice questions by such simplifications, then that is going to help you definitely, right? Because otherwise you may keep on applying similarity of triangles, congruence of triangles, sine rules, cosine rules, and other things. Okay, but transforming it into a simpler situation, okay, will not only give you the answer, okay, but I think it will also boost your confidence that you can solve complicated questions. Okay, yes, so that is how I have solved this question, and I have got it as option C, which is right. You can verify this with the official answer key of the 2019 paper. Okay, the other thing is that this method has worked, okay, because none of these is not there. If instead of D had there been the option none of these, then maybe I should have gone with, I should go with the intended way of solving this problem. But anyways, because none of these is absent, do these simplifications and start. You see, now in the case of none of these, we may still be in a position to solve the problem, but then we cannot assume that n is equal to 3. Okay, we have to keep n in our calculations. But anyways, transforming parallelogram to square is going to work. Okay, yes, so that is question 43. Question number 44. Let I cap, j cap and k cap denote the standard unit vectors in R3 along the x, y and the z axis respectively. Consider the sets x and y, where x is ai cap plus bj cap plus ck cap, such that a, b and c belong to the set -1, 0, 1, and y is the set of vectors. Well, I should not say set of vectors, I should say the set of order triplets v1 bar, v2 bar and v3 bar, such that v1 bar, v2 bar and v3 bar belong to x. Okay, and they are mutually perpendicular unit vectors. Okay, then the number of elements in Y is. See, now one thing to understand here is y is not the set of unit vectors. Okay, it will include ordered triplets v1 bar, v2 bar and v3 bar, which will be unit vectors, but they are also mutually perpendicular. Okay, now we will first go to set X and see what it is saying. Set X says that it contains an elements ai plus bj plus ck, where a, b, c belong to the set -1, 0, 1. Now we want only those vectors from X which are unit vectors. Okay, that is the first condition, and then we will talk about mutually perpendicular vectors. Okay, so if at all X contains, or if we want to extract only unit vectors from the set X, then -1 and 1 cannot come together. Okay, now this is the important point to be understood here, because we want v1 bar, v2 bar and v3 bar from X, but all of them must be unit vectors. That means their mod must be 1, or their magnitude. Okay, and if -1 and 1 appear in the vectors, will the magnitude be 1? No, it will be greater than 1. Okay, so that boils down to the following list of unit vectors in X, and there are only 6 of them: I, j, k, and -i, -j, and -k. And this list is now important because this is suggesting that the ordered triplets which constitute the set Y will consist of only these 6 vectors: I, j, k, and -i, -j, and -k. So this corresponds to 1 and 0, the use of 1 and 0, and this corresponds to the use of 0 and -1. Okay, so nowhere in these 6 vectors, or these 6 unit vectors, you see -1 and +1 making their appearance in the same vector. Okay, so once we extract the list of unit vectors from the set X, we will now go to set Y, wherein we would like to pick ordered triplets which are mutually perpendicular out of this. Okay, so how to do that? It goes without saying that I and -i are collinear, so they cannot be perpendicular. Same thing with j and -j, and k and -k, they are collinear, correct? Which means if we decide to fix, or if we decide to put in vectors from I, j, k, -i, -j, and -k, we should have to make the following choices: any one out of the two, I or -i, any one out of these two, j or -j, and any one out of these two, k or -k. Okay, so how many combinations are possible? There are 8 probable combinations, or possible combination, that is 2q. This is how you find the number of rows in any truth table, right? 2 raised to 3 equal to 8, or in binomial distribution, the different possible outcomes. Okay, so once you understand this, that there are 8 combinations possible, we will then talk about permutations. Okay, because v1 bar, v2 bar, v3 bar is an ordered triple. So if we consider I, j, k to be one of them, then j, I, k is a different triple. Okay, that is what we mean by ordered triple. So if the combinations are 8, can we find the permutations? Yes. Well, for that we need to recall the formula for combinations. NCR is NPR upon R factorial, isn't it? So to find the number of permutations, we must multiply NCR by R factorial. Okay, so within each combination there are 3 factorial permutations. Yes, because there are 3 elements. Yes, which means how many elements will be there in Y, or cardinality of Y? That cardinality of Y will be 2 to the power 3 into 3 factorial. Yes, this 3 factorial is coming from that R factorial part, and this 2 cube is coming from the combinations part. Okay, well, it's not really NCR now. Okay, but anyways, it is 2 raised to 3. So 2 cube into 3 factorial, which will be 8 into 6, that is 48. So do we have that option? Yes, so option D is the correct option. Number of elements in Y is 48. Now this problem is slightly different, so let me repeat this. Okay, in short, there are three sets in this problem. Those three sets are -1, 0, 1. Okay, so this particular set is telling us what numbers go as A, B, and C. Okay, and based on that, our set X is decided, because set is actually the set of all such vectors. Okay, this is the second set. And set Y, okay, set Y is not a set which contains vectors. Okay, it is not made up of vectors, it is made up of ordered triplets, such that v1 bar, v2 bar and v3 bar are mutually perpendicular unit vectors. From the set X. Okay, so there are these three sets, and in addition to this particular thing, the other thing is regarding the counting. Okay, combinations and permutations. Okay, we followed that we observed that there will be 8 combinations possible, I minus I, j minus j, k minus k. So very much like the Bernoulli trial or truth tables. So 8 possible combinations, and then we had to multiply that by the total number of permutations within each combination. That is 3 factorial. So the cardinality of Y, or the total number of elements in Y, will be 2 cube into 3 factorial, or 48. Okay, so you should be in a correct position to interpret the things that are given in the problem, and in this case that those things were the sets. Okay, so that is 44. Question number 45, last one. What is the probability that 3 randomly chosen elements x, y and z from the set of natural numbers 1 to 10 satisfy x plus y plus z equal to 5? Okay, option A 3, 1000, B 1 upon 200, C 1 upon 1000 and D 3 upon 500. Okay, now when they say 3 randomly chosen elements, okay, see, now the way to do it without repeating and not following any fixed order is 10C3. We know, you know that now, right? Picking up three elements or 3 numbers from the set. Okay, but because 120 nowhere makes its appearance in these denominators, okay, well, none of the denominators is actually divisible by 3. You are forced to think, or forced to conclude rather, that order of choice is important. That means if you pick 113, this will be considered a different permutation, I should say, than 131. Both are different. Okay, see, now why is this important? This is important because you will, without reading options, come up with some answer. Okay, and once you go back to the options and find out that, okay, this is not matching with the answer, what should I do? Okay, so I would say you are not wrong, but you have not correctly interpreted the question, and sometimes that does happen. Okay, the words in which the question has been framed makes it ambiguous. So as for example, this question, the examiner wants you to consider the order. Okay, and the options here come to our rescue, and they indeed suggest us that we should consider the order. Okay, so if at all such things happen in the examination, try to come up with the correct interpretation by taking the help of options. Okay, yes, so order is important and repetition is allowed. This 1000 is suggesting that repetition is allowed. Okay, should be right. Fine, so if the repetition is allowed, what I have done is I have simply gone with the list. thing. Okay, so this is now my table of x, y, z. I have started with the least possible value of x and the least possible value of y. So z will be 3, that is my first triplet. Then I have kept x as 1 and I have increased y by 1. So now 2, z will be 2. Second one, I have kept x as it is and I have tried to now make y as large as I could. Okay, so it is 3, 1, 3, 1. See, now y cannot be 4 because otherwise the sum would exceed 5, and this is the reason is 0 is not part of our set. Okay, yes, so then we must go to x equal to 2. Again start with the least value of y, that is 1. So 2, 1, 2. Then 2, 2, 1. Again you cannot make y 3, otherwise z will be 0. So the last is x equal to 3. So 1, 1. So how many ordered triplets did we get here? 6. Okay, so what is the probability? Favorable outcomes count 6 upon the total outcomes count, which is 10 raised to 3, because repetition is allowed. And so this is basically permutation with repetition problem. So 10 raised to 3, 10 elements and you are picking 3 out of them. So probability is 6 upon 1000 or 3 upon 500, that is option D. Okay, yes, so that is the end of the ISAR aptitude test 2019.